Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is an SU-122A. It's the Tier 5 Soviet SPG. It's located on the north spawn of Lakeville, and this one's under the command of Deathnub. And you can see it's got 2 marks of excellence on the barrel of his howitzer. Now that's the 152mm howitzer, capable of doing 550 alpha, and it's got penetration of 38mm of armour. Now this tank is actually based on the SU-76M, not the actual SU-122 tank, because that was technically a self-propelled gun, but it was more like the SU-85 than any other vehicle in the game. This Arty does have a fairly good range. You can fire most of the entire map, and so even this range, he's firing around in where he thinks one of the enemy tanks might be, and there was a T-3485 in close proximity, but he's now aiming towards the pass and ready to hit these guys. M4 improved, Jagdpanther. Oh, we spotted the gorilla at the back of the map, and looks like he's just been badly damaged, but we're going to shoot at the Jagdpanther instead. Rounds out. And he got a direct hit. The gorilla's gone, but the Jagdpanther took a direct hit. Now, we don't know how much damage he suffered, but I suspect it was quite a lot. Well, he doesn't have to relocate to avoid counter battery now, because of course the enemy Arty's out the game. But he's doing it anyway to get a better angle on the enemy. And there's the Jagdpanther, and yes, he's lost a lot of hit points. It does take a long time to dial in on this Arty. Great kill. And a kill shot. Lovely one. Now, funnily enough, the SU-122A was the first vehicle in the game that I marked. I was so enjoying the Arty that obviously I was playing the SU-122A quite a lot when I first started in the game. And I was very surprised when I got my first mark, and obviously I've since moved up. Oh, what was that? Did he kill something? No, he didn't. That was the showing where the gorilla was the last time it was taken out. So yes, I actually marked my SU-122A much faster than most people would. And I suppose it all comes down to the fact that so few people actually enjoy this Arty that it becomes very, very easy to actually mark it. Rounds out. Just narrowly missed the 45 TP. It's a good try. It used to be you'd only get 12 rounds in this Arty. Very, very little indeed. Now it's moved up to 18, which means you get a lot more flexibility. Of course, you get more rounds of ammo with the lower caliber guns, but they don't do as much damage as this one does. Rounds out. Oh, will it hit? Yes, it does. 224 off that one. Non-penetrating shot, but it's stunned the 45 TP. And Deathnub's actually picking up stun assist. But unfortunately, we just lost our Black Prince. Okay, going back to the centre pass on the valley. Nope. Is there anything at the back? There might be a Stugdrai Alserungi just behind that bush. Unfortunately, there's also a Churchill 1 getting close to our cap area. Yeah, he's just appeared at the corner, and ouch. Yes, he got a shot in. I could see him on the mini-map, and I was thinking, would it be better actually for Deathnub to aim at the Churchill 1 than aiming at the bush at the other end of the valley? Well, he's taken up a defensive position now, awaiting that Churchill 1 trying to get into our cap area. He can't get a good shot there because it's angled with his rear end up, and that reduces his range and makes it very difficult to aim. So he's actually trying to aim as he's moving about. Well, Churchill 1 could come around the corner, but if he does, he's going to be mincemeat. But I think Deathnub's going to try and get a shot at him firing up over the ridge into him. The Churchill's gone. There's an Excalibur there. Now he should be able to damage that, but if he's going for the front armour, it's going to take a little while to... Yes, he gets some hit points, 236, but he wasn't likely to pen, because of course he's only got 38mm to pen, and the Excalibur's got more than that on his frontal armour. Well, surprisingly, even though the enemy's got 2 tanks in the cap, they're actually losing this one at the moment by 1. The Excalibur's still there, and Deathnub's still diving in. It's 30.30 seconds by the book for the reload. Deathnub's got it down to 25.53. He's using premium consumables, which actually does speed up the reload as well as improve the aim. Momentarily he should be able to get another shot in. I think he's going to try and get a reset on T25AT. No, he's decided he's going to go for the Excalibur, and he gets the kill. That's his second kill of the game. He can still damage that T25AT. He's the only one in the cap at the moment. Almost loaded. You can see the Striv 74 sitting a little way back. He's just been wiped out. That's out. Oh, it hit the wreck instead. It hit the Churchill. It didn't go up over the top enough to actually get a hit. That's the problem. Wargaming lowered the trajectory of some of the shells in order to make it more difficult for some of the Arty players to score direct hits on the enemy. Used to have quite a good trajectory, this Arty, but now it's not. Well, it's stunned the T25AT, and he's gone down, so he picked up a massive amount of stun assists from the KV2 shot. And that means now there's only 2 enemies left, the T3485 up at the other end of the map, and an Achilles. Now the best thing for him to do at the moment would be for the Hellcat to go and have a quick look, see if he can spot where the enemy is, and then he might be able to fire a round in. I think he's more than likely the T3485 will be on that corner behind the tree. Oh, he's not. In fact, both of them were coming up the valley. Go for the Achilles. It's much thinner armour. That's out. Direct hit. 272. Good hit. Now, will he get some stun assists? Yes, he does. You don't get much stun, but it is a 152mm shell, so it should stun these enemy tanks. And the Achilles is gone, so now all he can aim at is the T3485. Again, he's got thick frontal armour, but he should be able to get something out of him. That's out. And another hit for 226. He's racked up a fair bit of damage in this game so far. Yeah, T3485 is trying to get away, actually. Trying to get a better angle on him, and he's gone, so game over. Guns up. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was an ace tanker game for Deathnub in the SU-122A. He managed to get a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he managed to get 7. And he got a defender medal because he actually reset the cap enough times to get at least 70 defense points in total. And his win rate from the game was 5,009, which is Super Unicum standard. Let's have a look at team score. Well, we can see that he was actually 3rd on his team on damage, but not 3rd overall. Highest damage in the game went to the T25-2 on his own team with 1,983. The second highest damage went to the Excalibur on his own team with 1,881. And the third highest damage went to the T25AT on the enemy team with 1,832. In fact, there were, let's have a look, 2 enemy tanks that were above him on damage as well. So overall, he was in 6th place on damage with 1,502. And of course, getting that defender. The Hellcat managed to get a Spartan, and the 25 TP got a defender as well. When it came to kills, It was shared between the Excalibur, the Hellcats and the T25AT, all had 3 kills apiece. And then we got Deathnub with 2 kills, AT7, the KV2 and the Churchill and the M4A1 on the enemy team. When it came to base XP, he's in second place because the Excalibur managed 1,149, whilst Deathnub managed 915, and the third highest damage was the Hellcat with 775. He fired 14 rounds in that game, got 5 direct hits on the enemy, 14 splash, no penetrations at all, but then it doesn't have a lot of pen, this Arty. 1,502 hit points of damage, of which 1,066 were at more than 300 meters. So it shows that a fair amount of damage was done at close range, and those were most of the shots he was firing directly into the gap area. He received 1 hit. It was a penetration. That was from the Churchill. He might have been able to avoid that if he'd had a look at the mini-map, and instead of firing at the Stug at the other end of the valley, he'd actually shot into a defensive position immediately to shoot at the Churchill from a different angle. But it didn't happen, so he did get hit. 7 enemy vehicles were damaged, 2 were killed, 1,072 hit points of stun assist off 11 stuns, and that's mainly why he actually managed to get the ace tanker in this one, because getting stun assist in a tier 5 really does help. 70 defense points in that one, so he only just qualified to get it with that last shot he fired at the T25AT. So very lucky to get that, because yes, they were killed shortly afterwards by the other tanks. I think it was the KV2 got the last one. 45,215 credits to the game. After repair, ammunition, resupply and consumables, he took away a profit of 13,441 credits. 1,372 XP, no multipliers, so that's all the experience points he took away. Well, as you can probably surmise, Deathnub is trying to get his 3rd mark, so he's working his way up, and he's sent a number of replays, so we're going to have a look at some of them. But before we do that, we'll have a quick look at the armor profile for this Arty. Okay, so it's based on, as I said, the SU-76 tank destroyer, or actually that is a self-propelled gun as well. Originally it was used in the tank destroyer role, but it was also used, as most Soviet self-propelled guns were, as for indirect fire. And if you look at the film White Tiger, you will actually see a number of SU-152s, SU-85s and other vehicles all pointing their guns at the sky, taking part in a bombardment, and that's what they did. Okay, well, the armor on this one is, well, sloped at the front, but remember the driver's actually in the front of this vehicle here. It's not showing the driver's port, but you can see the impacted armor is only 25mm. Because it's so heavily raked, you can see actually get 40mm of armor due to the angling. The lower plate is only 30mm. Again, with that angling, it's 40mm. The sides of the vehicle are a lot thinner. 15mm of effective armor, and because it's flat-sided, you're not getting any deflection at all, no increase in effective armor from that one. The engine deck is, of course, because the engine's sitting next to the driver, is very thin, 7mm, and yes, so you should easily be able to pen that, no problem at all. If you can land a shell on top of the engine deck, he's toast. At the back, well, this shield here is just for protection of the gun crew. Impacted armor is 10mm, that's all you're getting, and the same for the rear of the vehicle as well. So anywhere on the rear of this vehicle should penetrate, no problem at all. The only difficulty you're going to have is on the front of this vehicle. If he angles it well enough, you might be able to block a shot. As you can see, just by angling it a little, you can see it's gone from 25mm to 52. But the thing is that this arc is so narrow, it's only 15 degrees, and you can only turn it 7.5 degrees, pardon me, 7.5 degrees either side of the center line, as you can see over here. So the problem with this is that if you're facing an opponent, you're more than likely going to be facing him head on, and the traverse on this tank is not that great. It's fairly slow. So if an enemy starts circling you, I think you're more than likely going to find it very, very difficult to get a shot on them, unless you back up against a rock or something like that to enable you to get a shot at them as they're moving around. Let's have a look at the modules. I know some of you have expressed that you like this this new feature that actually does tell you where things are inside the vehicle. You can see the engine is actually sitting on the left hand side as you're looking at it, and the transmission's right in front of the driver. The driver's sitting in the centre of the vehicle. There's no viewport showing, but in fact actually it was a huge trapdoor there, or a lid that would lift up, and in winter time this was a terrible thing because the driver was getting cold air blasted into his face, and so if he wanted to keep any warmth at all, of course he had the engine sitting next to him to keep him warm, but if he wanted to keep any warm he had to lower the front plate, but of course that then narrowed his view and made it very difficult for him to drive the thing about. Right on the other side of him, on the right hand side as we're looking at, is the fuel tank. So he's got engine one side, fuel tank the other. Yeah, not much chance of surviving. In fact, actually, if they did come up against any enemy, the best bet, if he couldn't survive it, was to dive through the hatch and run away as quickly as you could, because otherwise you were toast. Yes, you weren't going to survive either way. At the back of the vehicle we can see that there are ammo racks, two ammo racks actually, on one side and one on the other. You've got this ammo rack which is actually inside the hull, another one at the side here. I think this is where the some of the shells were stored, others were stored in the vehicle there. There was a little narrow hatchway, and that's why there's a gap between the driver. The driver could actually crawl back through the vehicle to get into the back here. And the crew normally erected some form of cloth shield over the top of the vehicle to keep the crew warm, because otherwise the cold air would come blasting through here and right into them as well. So they didn't particularly like that, and of course it was open at the back, but they soon erected something to keep them warm. There's the gunner is on the right hand side of the vehicle as you're looking at it there. The TC is on the left hand side, he's got the radio next to him. The loader is right at the back of the vehicle, so the loader is going to be taking the shells out of either of the ready racks and stuffing them into the breech, whilst the gunner's adjusting the elevation of the vehicle. And the driver would have a lot to do as to how to park the vehicle to get the azimuth shot. So yes, the commander would be telling him which way to move to turn so that they can get the shots right, because it's got such a narrow traverse. So that's where the modules are on the SU-122A. Let's have a look at the second battle. In the second battle, Deathnub is on the Live Oaks map on the southwest spawn. I think if I raise the view, you can actually see where some of the shells are located. There's the racks down on the left hand side of the vehicle. So another storage on the left hand side there, and the other one on the other side. Okay, it's turning all the way around and aiming at the other end of the map. It takes forever to dial in, I'm afraid. Looks like he's going to try for the Churchill. Judges it to be about there. Long flight time for the shell. It's a 3 to 4 second flight time. Okay, that DSPZ will probably make a better target. The AMD's just moving too quick for the 152mm shell. Oh, he just got struck. I think he was tracked, but he fixed his track virtually immediately. Rounds out, and not sure how close that was. I saw a tree go down, so I think there's another tank there that we haven't seen yet. Going back to the town. BDR G1Bs do have fairly effective armour. Ooh, they've got a Cromwell. Okay, now he's sitting the other side of the water tower. How's that? This is going to knock the water tower down, I think. Oh, he hit him! He got a shot right through the girders. And the Cromwell's not going to be happy about that. Especially considering Cromwells don't have much in the way of armour, so that might have actually penned him. We're doing well so far. We're 4 up on the enemy. Not fully dialed in on that Wolverine. I think he might need to move a bit closer because it's not the full range. It's close to the full range of the Arty. Okay, it's going to dial in on Churchill. Nice. Mark the target. That's a good idea because it lets teammates know where you're aiming. And he stunned him. And he's picking up stun assist. I'd definitely give it another go. I think he's out of range of the enemy Arty at the enemy cap. Rounds out the Churchill. Oh, that was much better. 192 from that one. RNG said yes on that occasion. And the shell went right into the Churchill. And now he's out the game, so he got the rest of damage assist. Okay, we can see a box tank hiding in the bushes over here. And he'd make a lovely target. And Deathnub styling in. Well worth firing that one in, even if we've lost sight of him. I fire, yep. He fires it in. Unfortunately, he looks away immediately after he fires, so we didn't get to see if the shell went straight and true to the target. He might have actually hit that box tank, but he is going to try and get closer to the enemy now. 6 tanks up on the enemy. Of course, it will reduce the fire time. Oh, Cromwell's lost virtually all of his hit points. And there's the box tank. Did he hit him? Well, he has lost some hit points. And there goes the Cromwell. He's out the game. Taken out by the Fifi. We're firing blind at the box tank, and all we do is knock the house down. Ideally, we need to stay away from that one AMD because he can be dangerous. Oh, now I noticed there was an Arty mark on the side of the vehicle, so I think that Deathnub did hit the box tank, but it didn't pen. I noticed that before he was killed. Rounds out in the Panzer T25, it goes long, and he's killed in a drive-by there by the P43 Biz. Well, the enemy AMD's been killed, so we don't have to worry about him anymore. The Firefly's hiding behind the building, and the BDR, we can't see him at all. But he's somewhere over here. There he is. Okay, go for it. Fires a round in. Oh, we get some splash! But unfortunately, we also damaged our VK2801-105, or rather, he was within the splash zone. So I think we've lost the chance to get the high caliber, but I don't think we had enough to get 20% anyway, and the game is a victory. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was another ace tanker game for Deathnub in the SU-122A. So he's definitely keeping up his score rate to improve and get the 3rd mark. He also managed to get a bruiser medal out of that one for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 6. And yes, he did hit that box tank for 205 hit points with that blind shot that went in. And on the Churchill, he got 385. The Cromwell, the one that went through the water tower, yes, he did pen him. He actually penned him through the water tower for 553. So it's a big hit, a low roll penetration, but nonetheless, it was a pen, and I did think that there was a possibility that he might have penned him because the Cromwell doesn't have very strong side armor, and so if the Cromwell had been sitting there side on behind the tower and the shell went through, yes, a good chance he would have been penned by it, and he was, so that was a good result. 2,925 was the win rate, which is Unicum standard or close to Super Unicum standard. So let's have a look at team score. Well, he didn't get the highest damage in the game. That actually went to the M4A1 FL10, the premium medium. Got a Confederate with 1,936 hit points, so he didn't get a high caliber either. The second highest damage was the VK-2801-105 with 1,416, and he picked up a patrol duty. And there we can see Deathnub was actually third on damage with 1,361 hit points out of that game. The Chinu managed to get the Brothers in Arms, and the Chaffee did the same, as well as an All-Ex medal. So it was a good game for medals all round on Deathnub's team. When it came to kills, it was the P43 Biz and the Chinu who did the best with 4 kills apiece. 3 kills went to the Chaffee, 2 kills went to the M4A1 FL10. Deathnub didn't get any kills at all, but he did get a nice score in terms of damage. When it came to base XP, he's in third place. The VK-2801-105 got 1,057. The M4A1 FL10 got 988, and Deathnub 659, so not bad actually. The VK must have been working really hard to get that score. He fired only 9 rounds in the game, so he fired half his ammo. 3 direct hits on the enemy, 1 penetration, of course we now know that's the Cromwell, and 7 splash. Damage of 1,361 hit points, all of it at more than 300 meters. Damage 5 of the enemy, didn't get any kills, but he did get 701 hit points of stun assist off 7 stuns, and I think that had a lot to do with him getting the ace tanker. 36,909 credits from the game, and after resupply of ammunition and consumables, he took away a profit of 9,619 credits altogether. 983 XP and no multipliers, so that's all the experience points he took away. So second battle is an ace tanker, first battle was an ace tanker, and he's still not there on his third mark, but I'm sure he will get it. If you enjoyed that replay or replays, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And please do remember that we're donating all of the profits from this channel, all of the receipts from this channel, to the Red Cross Ukraine appeal for the refugees from Ukraine. So please do watch as many of our videos as you can, because every time you do, you're helping those refugees and aiding them in their distress. Thanks for watching.